Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to tackle something that really, I think, impacts all of us, regardless of what we do.
Yeah.
And that's clear communication.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we're going to dive deep into Barbara Minto's The Pyramid Principle to uncover the secrets to, organizing our thoughts.
Absolutely.
And presenting them in a way that really resonates.
Yeah, it's a book that stood the test of time.
Yeah.
And for good reason. Minto's insights into how we as humans process information can be applied to everything from writing a concise email to delivering a captivating presentation,
right,
or even solving complex problems.
Okay.
So pretty powerful stuff.
Let's unpack this a little bit.
Sure.
The book starts with a concept that's both fascinating and a bit humbling.
Okay.
Our brains have limits.
Yeah.
We can only juggle so many ideas at once before things get jumbled.
Exactly. Minto calls this the magical number 7.
Okay.
Referring to the limited number of items our short-term memory can handle effectively.
Oh.
Think about it. You rarely see grocery lists or phone numbers presented as one long stream.
Yeah, that's true.
They're naturally grouped for better recall.
It's like our brains crave order.
Right.
Even in something as simple as a shopping list.
Precisely. And based on her experience at McKinsey,
Okay.
Minto suggests limiting idea groups to 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
In professional settings.
Okay.
This forces you to distill your thinking and ensure each point packs a punch.
So it's not about cramming in as much information as possible.
Right.
It's about prioritizing and strategically organizing the most crucial points.
Absolutely.
To make sure that people
to make sure that you're
remember them. Right.
that you're getting to the core of what you're trying to say.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And this leads us to Minto's core concept,
Okay.
the pyramid principle.
The pyramid principle.
Imagine an upside-down pyramid
Okay.
with the main point, the answer to your reader's question,
Okay.
right at the top.
So we're flipping the script on the typical narrative structure.
It's exactly.
Instead of building suspense, we're leading with the conclusion.
Each level below that top point breaks down the supporting arguments,
Okay.
with each level summarizing the ones beneath it.
Gotcha.
It creates a cascading structure of logic that guides the reader seamlessly through your reasoning.
It's like providing a mental roadmap,
Oh, that's good.
leading the reader through the information step by step,
Yeah.
ensuring they don't get lost along the way.
That's a great analogy. And what makes this principle so effective is that it mirrors how our minds naturally seek answers.
Right.
As we read, we're constantly asking ourselves, so what? Why does this matter?
All the time.
The pyramid principle anticipates those questions,
Yeah.
providing a satisfying and compelling flow of logic.
It's almost like having a silent conversation with your reader,
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
preemptively addressing their doubts and guiding them towards your intended conclusion.
Precisely. Now, within this pyramid structure,
Okay.
Minto presents 2 key approaches to building your arguments, deductive and inductive reasoning.
Oh, yes, the classic logic showdown. Could you
Yep, oldies but goodies.
could you remind us of the distinction between the two?
Of course. Deductive reasoning is like a lawyer building a case.
Okay.
It starts with a general statement and uses a series of logical steps
Okay.
to arrive at a specific conclusion. It's very direct and linear.
So it's like following a trail of breadcrumbs that inevitably leads you to the intended destination.
Exactly.
Okay.
Inductive reasoning, on the other hand, is more like piecing together a puzzle.
Okay.
You gather specific observations and then draw a general conclusion based on the patterns you see.
So it's about recognizing those aha moments that emerge
Yes.
when you connect the dots between seemingly disparate pieces of information.
Precisely.
I like that.
And what's fascinating is that Minto encourages us to be mindful of both approaches,
Oh, okay.
choosing the one that best suits the situation
Yeah.
and the type of argument we're constructing.
It's like having different tools in our communication arsenal. Yeah. Each with its own strengths and applications. Exactly. Now, before we get too deep into building our pyramids,
Okay.
Minto reminds us of the importance of setting the stage.
Yes.
Right? It's not just about presenting solutions.
That's right.
It's about ensuring that everyone understands the context.
That's right. Minto emphasizes the importance of clearly defining the situation
Okay.
and the complication
Okay.
before diving into solutions.
Right.
It's about painting a picture of the starting point and the problem that needs to be addressed. This ensures that you and your reader are on the same page with a shared understanding of the context.
It's like making sure everyone has the same map before embarking on a journey.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you might end up in completely different places.
Exactly. And when it comes to actually recommending actions or solutions,
Okay.
Minto encourages us to focus on the outcome
the outcome.
not just the task.
So instead of saying analyze the data,
Right.
we should say identify key trends that will inform our strategy.
Precisely.
Okay.
This subtle shift in phrasing moves the emphasis from the process to the desired result, making your recommendations more actionable and outcome-oriented.
It's like focusing on the destination rather than the vehicle you'll take to get there.
Right.
The outcome is what ultimately matters.
Yeah, the outcome is what matters most.
Now, all this talk about logic and structure
Yeah.
might make some people think that this is only for analytical thinkers,
Right.
but Minto also highlights the importance of visuals.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
She recognizes that many people are visual thinkers.
Right.
And a simple diagram or mental picture can often unlock the structure of an argument more effectively than words alone.
So if you're struggling to write clearly, try sketching out your ideas.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like creating a blueprint before building a house. The visual representation helps you see the overall framework
Right.
and ensures everything fits together logically.
I love that analogy.
Thanks.
Now, once you have that framework, Minto reminds us that even something as mundane as formatting
Yes.
plays a crucial role in communicating effectively, right?
You got it. Headings,
Right.
indents, bullet points.
Yeah.
They're not just decorations.
Right.
They're visual cues that reinforce the pyramid structure, guiding the reader's eye and making your document easier to digest.
So it's like we're creating a visual hierarchy that emphasizes the key takeaways
Yes.
and makes the information more accessible.
Precisely. And speaking of making things accessible,
Okay.
you might be wondering how all these principles actually play out in real-world scenarios.
Right.
Well, Minto includes some really interesting examples in the book
Oh, okay.
that demonstrate how these principles can be applied to a variety of situations.
Ooh, I love a good story.
Yeah?
Give us some of the juicy details.
Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so one that comes to mind involves a McKinsey consultant
Okay.
struggling to present a client's issues in a clear, concise way.
Right.
They kind of fall into the trap of listing problem after problem without a unifying structure.
The classic data dump.
Yes, exactly.
I've definitely been on the receiving end of those,
For sure.
and it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
How did Minto tackle this?
So she showed how by grouping similar problems
Okay.
and identifying a common theme, you can transform a laundry list of issues
Okay.
into a compelling and insightful argument.
Gotcha.
It's about finding the narrative thread
Right.
that connects the dots
Yeah.
and leads to a clear solution.
It's like taking a cluttered closet
Yes,
and organizing it into neat, labeled boxes.
that's a great way to put it.
Suddenly the chaos transforms into something manageable and understandable.
Exactly. Another fascinating example involves something seemingly simple,
Okay.
a description of the Sinai Peninsula.
Okay, I wouldn't think a geographical description
Right.
needs much structuring. What's the insight there?
What's brilliant is that Minto demonstrates how presenting the description
Yep.
in the order a reader would visually scan a map makes the information instantly more memorable and understandable.
So it's about aligning the presentation of information with the way our brains naturally process visual cues.
That's exactly right.
Fascinating.
Precisely. And then there's the example of a useless monthly report filled with complaints.
Okay.
Minto shows how by categorizing the complaints
Right.
into issues of timing, data accuracy, and format, you can reveal the underlying structure of the problem.
So it's not just about venting frustrations.
Right.
It's about analyzing them to uncover the root cause.
Exactly. And that leads us to what might be one of those powerful examples in the book.
Okay.
Minto takes a vague list of ideas for improving UK blue-collar training and transforms it into a powerful, persuasive argument.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
How did she achieve that transformation?
So by identifying the common theme underpinning all the ideas, the need to provide incentives for each participant in the training system, this allowed her to create a clear, cohesive argument
Right.
that addressed the core issue rather than just presenting a disjointed list of suggestions.
So it's not enough to just have good ideas.
That's not enough.
You need to find the thread that ties them together
Yes.
into a compelling narrative.
Exactly. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great for situations where there's a clear problem and solution.
Right.
But what about those messier, more ambiguous situations?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
What happens when the structure isn't so obvious or
Yeah.
the path forward isn't clear?
Well, Minto acknowledges that sometimes the problem itself is unclear,
Okay.
or the existing frameworks simply don't explain what's happening
Right.
for these situations. She suggests using a process called abductive reasoning.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing.
It's a good one.
What's abductive reasoning all about?
Thinking it like a detective working a case.
Okay.
You start by observing the results, what's actually happening, and then work backward to develop a hypothesis about the underlying cause.
So it's a bit like reverse engineering the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Starting with the outcome
Yeah.
and tracing it back to its origin.
Exactly. And just like a good detective, you need to test your hypothesis to see if it holds up.
Right.
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because Minto advocates for designing experiments
Okay.
that will yield a clear yes or no answer.
So it's not about blindly trying things and hoping for the best.
No, not at all.
It's about taking a systematic, almost scientific
Yes.
approach to problem solving.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about bringing structure and rigor to even the most ambiguous situations.
Right.
Minto uses the example of Galileo
Okay.
trying to understand the concept of force. The prevailing theories at the time
Right.
didn't explain the momentum of a cannonball.
Right.
So he had to think outside the existing framework.
So even some of history's greatest minds faced these kinds of structureless situations.
Exactly.
Okay.
And they often used abductive reasoning to break through those barriers and develop new understanding.
It's like a reminder that even when things seem chaotic and confusing,
Right.
there are methods we can use to bring order
Yeah.
and make sense of the world around us.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And even when dealing with these less structured situations,
Okay.
Minto reminds us of the power of visualizing relationships.
Right.
She even provides specific techniques like logic trees
Okay.
to help us map out complex problems and explore potential solutions.
Okay, I'm picturing a tree, but how do logic trees help with problem solving?
Imagine the trunk of the tree representing your core problem.
Okay.
Then each branch represents a potential solution or approach
Okay.
to solving that problem. Each branch then splits into smaller branches,
Okay.
representing more specific actions or sub-problems.
So it's like creating a visual roadmap
Yes,
for navigating a complex challenge.
exactly. And logic trees can be used for both generating new ideas
Right.
and identifying flaws in existing approaches.
It's like a multi-purpose tool for both brainstorming and analysis.
Now, while all of this might seem quite theoretical,
Okay.
Minto provides a lot of practical advice on how to apply these principles to everyday work situations, especially when it comes to crafting effective documents and presentations.
Yes, let's get practical. How does this translate into
Yeah.
creating compelling proposals or reports?
Well, she emphasizes the importance of structuring these documents in a way
Okay.
that clearly articulates the problem, the proposed solution, and the expected outcome,
Right.
all while using the pyramid principle to guide the reader's understanding.
So it's about ensuring that everyone is on the same page from the outset.
Yes,
Understanding the what, the why, and the how.
Precisely. And Minto even offers specific examples of how to use the pyramid principle
Oh, wow.
to structure these documents, which can be incredibly helpful for anyone who's ever felt lost in the process of writing a report or proposal.
It's like having a blueprint for success guiding you through each step of the process.
I like that a lot.
Now, when it comes to presentations,
Okay.
Minto also stresses the importance of visuals,
Yes.
but it's not just about throwing random charts and graphs on a slide, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
She recommends using a mix of text slides and exhibit slides.
Okay.
With exhibits. So charts, diagrams, images,
all right.
making up the majority of your presentation.
So it's about using visuals to tell a story.
Yes.
To make your data come alive.
Yes.
And engage your audience on a deeper level.
Precisely. And she provides clear guidelines for designing effective text slides and exhibits, emphasizing clarity, conciseness,
Right.
and visual appeal.
It's like curating a museum exhibit
Oh, that's good.
where each piece is carefully chosen to tell a specific part of the story.
Yeah.
And the overall experience is both informative and engaging. What a great analogy. And she stresses the importance of having a clear storyboard and script for your presentation to ensure that your visuals flow logically and enhance your overall message.
So it's like directing a movie
Yeah.
where each slide is a scene
Yeah,
and the transitions create a cohesive and impactful narrative.
exactly. And Minto even offers examples of how to translate the pyramid principle into a compelling storyboard for a presentation. This can be a game changer
Right.
for anyone who's ever struggled to create a presentation that truly captivates their audience.
It's like she's giving us the secret recipe for presentation success. Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I have one last question. Minto talks a lot about clear and concise language, which is great for everyday communication.
Right.
But what about those times when we have to deal with like highly technical or specialized topics?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How do we balance clarity with the need to convey complex information accurately?
That's an excellent question, and it's something Minto addresses directly in the book.
Okay.
She argues that even the most complex ideas can be communicated clearly by using visual thinking and focusing on the underlying relationships between ideas.
So it's not about dumbing things down.
No, not at all.
For a general audience.
Yeah.
It's about finding ways to make complex information more accessible.
Right.
By highlighting the key connections and concepts.
Exactly. It's about bridging the gap
Right.
between expert knowledge and audience understanding.
Yeah, yeah.
This is where those visual techniques like logic trees
Right.
can be especially helpful,
Okay.
even when dealing with intricate technical details.
It's like creating a mental map
Yeah.
that guides your audience through the intricacies of the topic,
Right.
highlighting the landmarks and connections along the way.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of guiding the audience, Minto also provides some really insightful advice on crafting introductions and conclusions that truly resonate.
Yes. Let's dive into that.
Okay.
I always struggle with making my introductions captivating.
Right.
I feel like I just end up stating the obvious. How does Minto suggest we approach introductions?
Think of it like setting the stage for a play.
Okay.
You want to create intrigue, draw your audience in, and make them eager to hear what you have to say.
Right.
Minto advocates for a structure she calls situation complication question.
Okay, break that down for me.
Okay, sure.
What exactly does that entail?
Imagine you're presenting a project proposal.
Okay.
You'd start by outlining the current situation. Maybe the company's stagnant growth in a particular market.
Right.
That's your situation.
Okay.
Then you introduce the complication. Perhaps a new competitor is disrupting the landscape.
Right, right.
Finally, you pose the question.
Okay.
How can the company regain its competitive edge?
Ah, I see. So it's like setting up a mini mystery. Right there in the introduction, you're presenting a problem that needs solving and making the audience crave the solution.
Exactly. It piques their curiosity and ensures everyone understands the stakes from the get-go.
That's brilliant. Now, what about conclusions?
Okay.
How do we avoid simply rehashing everything we've already said and boring our audience to tears?
Think of your conclusion as the final bow.
Okay.
The lasting impression you leave on your audience. Minto suggests using it not to summarize, but to inspire action.
Right.
Leaving your reader with a clear sense of purpose and direction.
So instead of just reiterating the key points, we should be urging our audience to take the next step, to apply what they've learned.
Precisely. For instance, if we were wrapping up our deep dive on the pyramid principle today, we might challenge you to identify one area in your work where you can start applying Minto's framework.
That's a great example. It's a call to action that encourages continued engagement with the material.
Exactly. It's about ending on a note of empowerment.
Right.
Leaving your audience feeling equipped to use what they've learned.
This has been an incredibly insightful depth dive.
It has been, hasn't it?
I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for approaching communication, both in writing and verbally.
I agree.
Before we wrap up completely, I have to ask, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners will remember from our exploration of the pyramid principle?
If I had to choose one, it would be this. Structuring our thinking is the foundation of effective communication. By mastering the pyramid principle, we can transform our writing, presentations, and even our approach to problem solving.
It's like we're not just organizing our ideas, we're organizing our minds.
Precisely. It's not just about what we say, but how we say it. By organizing our thoughts logically, we empower our audience to understand and engage with our message more effectively.
It's like learning to speak the language of clarity and persuasion.
I like that.
Well, there you have it. Our deep dive into Barbara Minto's The Pyramid Principle comes to an end.
It does, sadly.
We've explored the power of structuring our thinking.
We have.
To transform communication from convoluted to clear, from rambling to impactful.
It's been quite a journey.
So as you go forth, dear listener,
Yes.
remember to embrace the power of the pyramid.
Absolutely.
Organize your thoughts, articulate your arguments with precision,
Yes.
and watch your communication skills reach new heights.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Until next time, keep those minds sharp and never stop exploring the depths of knowledge.
See you next time.